meeting will be recorded today because we want to save this into a training program so that anyone who wants to have any follow-up on these sessions, they can just go and rewatch the video if that's the case, right? And remind themselves of the functionality that we covered. Okay, so Umba won't be joining us because she's off today, and I'll just crack on straight into it because, as you know, CPL dashboards are set up by the PSO team, and then any requests that come in for copies, for updates, are done either by the PSO team, where complex, and where simple ones that the support team can just crack on with, they are sent to support for them to do. Like, for example, you had the logo to update, and you might have some other smaller things. Anything that is within the knowledge base you have today, you will be doing it, and hopefully you will be increasing that knowledge base so that then in future you can support us more with the CPL dashboards, because at the moment the brunt of the work all sits with Shah or myself, right? So what I'm going to do is share with you the document. Just let me know that you can see my screen. Just a sec.
Yep, okay. We can do. And also, morning, Noemi. Sorry, I was a minute late. So yeah.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay, so the location where our CPL dashboard, the master document, sits is under my folders, so please be very cautious when you navigate in the system and you touch anything that is on my under my folder. Under the CPL Campaigns Dashboard setups, there is a setup and breakdown template, and this is the document that we're going to review. And the reason why I'm sharing the location with you is just that you know where it is. Under no circumstance does anyone touch this document with any updates. If you do want to add anything or feel that there is content that isn't here that requires to be here, you need to submit it to myself for approval, and then I will add to the master document. Is that understood?
Yes. Yep.
Right. And why is it that we shouldn't tamper with master documents? Can anyone tell me? Just for curiosity. Anyone? Why?
Seems like someone wants me to go. So this is the document that all our campaigns are set up from, right? So if the master document is incorrect, Noemi, then every campaign that we go to set up using the master document will also be incorrect as well. So it's imperative that the master document is always 100% correct. And there's a change control process if we do need to add something to it or amend something in it, right? So yeah, that's the reason why.
And that change control process is exactly what I've just told you right now, which is myself. Unless I approve it, you do not touch it. And well, you never touch it. Unless I approve it, the content doesn't even get added, because it is the PSO team who have to set up each and every project. Each and every project will have its 100% customizable elements, which is why it is very difficult to have a standard document that fits every single client under the sun. So we shouldn't be making any changes that fit only one client, is what I'm trying to say, right? So the things that we added in that I do need to highlight to you is the request process ID. And the reason why we added this in is because I noticed it in a couple of other requests that we've been doing over time, and it will just allow us to go and track which copy we requested, which ad hoc request we got, which setup document. Just makes it easier for our own purposes when we queried. So that has been added in, and the ones that I want to cover with you are the ones that are highlighted in green, which are new things that have been added to this document. Okay, so that's a simple one. It's just the process ID. Followed by that, we have, I will make this slightly bigger because I understand Excel becomes very difficult to read when you're in a meeting. Create the publisher import template where customization was done, otherwise use the standard. So now the reason why I've put this in here is because we use the standard one for CPL campaigns that are done via a third party, because there is very little customization to those campaigns with regards to the WMS process. But where in-house validation is done, we have to make significant changes to the publisher import template so that then we are in line with the client systems and we can output to those clients seamlessly via an API or via an output report. So that's why it's very important that when we create this publisher import template, we know which one we're doing. And this is a task that applies to everything. And where it is customized for the client, we upload it into Asset Manager and we add the Asset ID for the dashboard tab. So you will have noticed that there's a For Dashboard tab here if you've navigated into this. And where we have in-house validation, we will have a publisher import template, which we will have to put the custom link here, and that means that when they go to the dashboards, we're setting up the dashboard, the users will be able to download it from the dashboard. So I take it that that's not new to anyone, or do I need to show you a dashboard so that then you can see where this sits? Probably better, because I take it that Zinkies and Isabel, you will have seen this, right, with the requests that come in?
Yes.
Yep, but for Soleil, this might be new. So give me one sec.
I
Just
am quite familiar with dashboards already because
you're in
the help
V3.
content.
No, you're talking about V3. This is V2.
Oh, okay.
Right. So let us just go to one that I'm actually expecting a request coming in for. And right. So in V2, just navigating to one. Right. And in our dashboards, always in the other resources tile, we have a publisher import template, right?
Mhm.
And when the users click on that, they will get the import template for that specific client, right? Which will be customized to whichever level was required for that client. Normally, the general level of customization are the number of employees, the turnover, industries, countries, which they can use any values, and counties. In this case, there are counties that are associated to countries, which is a big customization to the system. And then they might have, towards the end, very specific information to themselves, and they can also have the profiling questions. In this case, they do use one profiling question, and they can also have something else, which I will show you in a minute, which is also a new addition. So this is a publisher template, and the reason why it's so important that it is logged here is because it is required. The link is required in order for the person who's setting up the dashboard to easily be able to make it downloadable for the end users. So that's that item covered. Everyone clear?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing here is for all in-house validation dashboards. So in-house validation, which means that EIMS are taking on the task of doing the validation with their teams that are located in the Philippines, I believe. So where the publisher import template is customized, confirm asset names 1 and 2 were added to the list of value pick lists. So if this is done for a client, it means that when assets change for new campaigns, the template must be updated to, then added to Asset Manager. So this is a point where I need the support team to be very, very clear. When we're setting up a template from now onwards, if they ask us to add the asset 1 and 2, so it will show here, column for asset 1, column for asset 2. If they ask us to put the values that are in our data source there, they will be populated. You have come across a few that historically they have asked us to put the assets in there, but from this point onwards, it's going to be more general. And that means that every time a copy comes in and there are new assets that are added to the data source, you must add them to the document too and upload the new template in Asset Manager. Is that understood? Sorry,
Yes.
I need to, one sec. This is an acknowledgement that I need from the support team on this one, please. So you understand? Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Yes.
So can you repeat it to me in your own words? Hands up. Otherwise, I'll choose one of you. Okay, so Isabel, do you want to tell me in your words, what does that mean?
So I think you say that when we are getting like a request to add new assets, we should also include whatever updates that we did into the template, because you'll have a column for asset 1 and asset 2. So whatever asset names that we changed, we should include that in the template.
Okay, so that is correct. Shah, which is the campaign that does use assets already? And support, you will know this because you will have done this before. We've done so many hundreds of them. It's difficult for me to...
Alteryx normally ask us for asset updates quite regularly, actually.
Right. So let's go and see that, because I want you to make sure that you fully understand. And Isabel, you give me the correct answer. Nothing's wrong with your answer. I just want to make sure that everyone is crystal clear, so that then when we do get requests, we don't forget to do it, right? So if we, instead of going to the setup, we go to the dashboards, which are the clients. This you'll also be familiar with. So Alteryx and their publisher import template. Just allow it to open. In the list of values, they have the usuals, and Oh, come on. No. This one, it's not this AlterX. Is it another AlterX? Is this the other, the older one?
I'm pretty sure it'll be that AlterX. No, that's the only one. The other ones are for the AlterX
EIMS
platform, the channel
packages,
we
right?
did. No, it wouldn't be those ones, no, yeah. It's normally the
but
AlterX one. It's the IHV with the API. We don't normally include the asset 1 and 2 list of values in our publish import template, because that's Ramon's job to go and inform the publishers what those assets are, right?
Exactly.
That's the reason why we don't normally do that. But what we need to start doing is we need to start putting them in, right? Is what you're saying.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So when we put them in, we have to maintain them, right? Which means that every time we start a new campaign, we have to add the new ones in there. Make sure we go to Asset Manager. So I take it that Zingiza and Isabel, you know how to go into Asset Manager and do the upload of a new template? Yes or no?
That.
Once.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually shadow David.
Okay, so you probably want to not only shadow, but do the task, because that's the only way that you learn, okay? If you need either Shah or myself to help you, we're more than happy. We do thousands of these uploads, and we maintain the templates for all of the campaigns, but we need to hand over that task to yourselves. When you get the copy,
Could we do one thing, Noemi? The next time a copy comes in and there's assets to be updated, maybe we get Zingiza or Isabel to do the update in the data source, but then the actual update in the template and then uploading into Asset Manager, maybe they need to reach out to one of us to actually go through it with them, because I don't think David's doing that bit at the moment with them, right? So you know, we need to do it's like a mini KTW, right, on how to go and do this, right? This actual step that you've added into the checklist.
Not a problem. As long as they as long as you reach out to us, either Shah or myself will make ourselves available, and we'll show you how that's done, because then it needs to be a 100% accuracy, right? Whatever you put into that pick list must match our data source, so that then when the publishers send it in, the deduplication factors don't reject the files, right? We don't want to cause any issues client side. Okay, so that's not a problem. Shah and I have done this millions of times, so we're more than happy to assist you, but you do need to put your hand up and tell us you want us to help you, okay?
Okay.
No crystal ball on our side to know when you need help.
Yeah, I'm not telepathic or a psychic person that I can read your mind. So yeah, just ping us and we'll be able to assist.
Right, and it's very, very important that we do that. And don't forget that this document has this in writing, but this is the master document. If the campaign is old, meaning that it was set up a year ago, it won't have this line item in there. So we'll have to go and add it to it when we get the request. Just bear that in mind all the time, because the master document contains everything, and each client will have what existed at the time it was created. Okay. Right. The next thing we need to discuss, now that we have clarified what that one is for new funnel reports, right? So we have a new version of the funnel report that has a TAL data folder for a campaign. So this is a target account list. And I take it that maybe the support team aren't familiar with this one yet.
They wouldn't know about this one, no.
I can't remember if this is X100 is the Google one. No, this is the Worldline one. Okay, so this isn't. Do you remember which the Google one is?
I'll just go get it. Give me a second.
Sorry, I just didn't want to go into the folder structure, but I want to show you. This is an enhancement to the funnel report as such. This funnel report, which has been introduced for Google. And that funnel report has a lot more metrics than the standard one, right? And there is a section that will be maintained by support, just like we do for example, the POS data for Adobe. And we need to make sure that we do all this work properly so that then the report doesn't get affected. So Shah's just going to look up
560, Noemi.
560. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, we have done so many. Yes, exactly. But that's good news. Every dashboard implies money in the coffers for EIMS, which means our job security is maintained by the quality of the work we do. So it's very important we do a very good job for them. So this is the funnel report, and as you can see, they have a TAL template here. So first thing first, I'm going to show you the funnel report and show you what is different with them. They have ABM metrics. And all of these metrics pull off a target account list. So it's very, very important that you get this right. when you do your TAL updates. This will come directly from the system, but this is something that also only applies to the new funnel report. It's got nothing to do with our current report. This is the P2, the famous P2, or ad hoc escalation that Ben is looking at, which is the Unicode within our Power BI reports. But the main thing about TAL is that all of the new tabs which are related to the TAL list won't work for a client if you get this wrong. All of this will go mank, and then they will get on the blower to us and start giving us a hard time because we're not doing everything for them. And now for this TAL list, we create a data folder for this campaign so that then the updates can be done by support. Now, Shah, where are these folders created so that support maintain them?
Right, so they're in the same place where the POS data folders are, Naomi. So let me give you the link, and then you can actually put it in the template, right? Because then it'll just help you.
Not a problem.
And help anyone who actually does this in the future to know where they're going.
Precisely.
Right, so in the POS data folder, there is a. Right, so if I send you this link here. There you go, just sent it in the chat, Naomi. There's a folder in there called Google TAL data, and in there, that's where the Google TAL data is being maintained and updated.
So here I'm going to put example for Google so that then you don't go and put all the other clients' data in the Google one.
I've sent the root folder in Naomi, so what would have to happen is what would have to happen is a new. So when we create the funnel report, we would create the TAL data folder, right? So let's say Worldline wanted to do something or whatnot, so we'd go and create it. That's not a problem.
Right.
But what support would need to go and do is, if a request came in to go and update the TAL data, they'd have to go and find the folder, and then once they found the folder, they'll need to go and put the file in there, right? I think there's a video that Saxon did for the
there is a training video.
Oh, it's the next item. Right, okay,
yes. So for continuation campaigns, you update the TAL list and you have a training video, which is here. So support team, that is for yourselves. You can go and listen to it. And any user that does have the advanced funnel report, they have a TAL template in their dashboard, and they can only supply you data in this format. No other format is accepted, okay? So if someone sends you a file for a target account list update that includes more than these 4 columns, it gets immediately rejected, right? And the reason why it is because the more data you put into the document, the more data we store, the more costly it is to score. So as we don't need any more than these 4 columns for that report to work, the funnel report, going back to it so that you understand the context, for this funnel report to work properly, we only need this information. So we only want this information, and we don't only want to use this server space in our system. Is that understood?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Zingiza, if someone sends you a TAL account list that has 50 columns for their campaign, what is your first action?
I'll first check out the template and see how many columns does it contain. We don't need too much data to it, as it's going to be costly. So I'll have to send it back.
And tell them, please supply the data in the exact template that is downloadable from your dashboard, right? We're here to keep the costs of maintaining things the lowest possible. So if we've taken the time to have a template for the users, that is the only acceptable format for the data, okay? Right? And if anyone gives you any pushback on that, tell them to speak to me. And I can guarantee you they will shut up from that point onwards. Right? And it's not because we don't listen to them. It's just that there's a process to follow. And the reason why there's a template is because we reduce costs, right? So if there's a template, you supply it in the template. They are no different to anyone. There are no concessions towards any users, okay? Because the minute you open the flood doors to one, you've just opened the floodgates to everyone, okay? So let's make sure we follow this as a standard for any TAL list updates. And at the moment, the only client using it is Google. So you will only have it for Google, but very soon we will have it for the likes of AFL, because the request for that particular client is to use the new funnel report. So they will also have a TAL list, and whenever they send you an update, which can happen at any time, you can only accept it in this format, okay? And I'm spending time making sure that everyone understands this now, because then I don't want anyone to tell me, oh, they've supplied me a file with 50 columns and I accepted it. Then it's on you. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. We have another thing, which is the output setup requirements. Now, in order for us to set up a campaign, we get a document from them, which is the output setup requirements. And it can have information for us either to set up a campaign via a API to the client, which obviously, you know, APIs, hopefully in the near future, the support team will be able to assist us on that, because that is, in my eyes, a standard support task that support should be able to do. It's within the knowledge that I expect a support resource to have. When we set up APIs, or we set up an output report, which is a downloadable SQL to Excel document. So just going back to Google, right, and looking at theirs, there's an output report here, and if we click on it, it tells them they are able to run a report. It's a SQL to Excel report. So when it's an Excel report, the link to this needs to be added to the dashboard. So every time we create an output report, we set out the information, we add it to Asset Manager, right? Because it's a template. Again, Asset Manager, very important to know how to use it. And we also put the detail in the For Dashboard tab. So output report, yeah. So if there is an output report, it will be specific to each client. Whatever fields that client will accept in their database is what we set up right at the beginning of the campaign. So if it is an output report document, we need it here so that the person setting up the dashboard can make it linked from this button for the end users to always access the right report. Is that understood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Simple enough, or any questions?
Simple enough for me. Seeing as no one's responding.
Okay, so I'll move on if there are no questions, right? So back to our document. These are all changes that are recent, which is why I'm taking everyone through them so that they know when a copy comes in, or any ad hoc requests, they know what people are talking about, because they are all new items, right? The next thing we have here is for all dashboards, the run through of a dashboard by another resource. Now, normally when we set up a brand new one, that is always done, right? It's part of the checklist. We were doing it for all the in-house validations. But what I would like you to get into the habit of is when you're doing any work on a dashboard, that you ask someone else on your team to have a quick glance through it to make sure you haven't left buttons on there without links, because we did come across one where there was a copy of a dashboard. The copy of the dashboard was done, but the buttons had been compromised. And this can happen very easily. So can I just ask that a little bit more due diligence is done when even if it's a copy of a dashboard, that's why I now have it for all dashboards, a run through of the dashboard by another resource, just to make sure that we haven't compromised anything. These are live reporting tools, right? People use this to report on their campaigns. And if we have buttons that all of a sudden stop working or lead people to the wrong sections, or they blow up in people's faces, it gives a very, very bad impression of our work, okay, or the quality of the work we do. So please, what normally happens if Shah does the setup of the dashboard, he will refer the item to me and say, Noemi, go and do a quick run through of everything. Just make sure I haven't missed something. And guess what? We are all human. We all make mistakes. So let's just make sure that if we do make a mistake, because ultimately we are the support team for EIMS, we are their customer success team. And if anything slips from our team, it's always considered to be a big, big problem, right? Doesn't matter how many boo-boos they do, they never have a problem. But if we make a boo-boo, it's always taken out of proportion. So please make sure that you allow someone to just run through your work and make sure that you're not posting anything live that is compromised. So the next thing in the list is for in-house validation, change the timer to 72 hours once testing is completed. Now, we already do this, but we just documented it to make sure that we do follow through on this, because it's so easy to overlook. And I will point this out to you so that you also know what this is about. This is about this timer here, right? When we're doing a setup of a diagram for WBL, we do quite a lot of testing to make sure that all of our exit routes are properly being executed and the data goes to the correct stage automatically, because we do everything through auto loads and autocomplete. Now, This timer, many times when we set up the campaign to begin with, we put it to 15 minutes so that we don't have to wait any length of time for these to complete when we're doing the manual testing, because we have to do manual testing and automated testing. However, it is so easy to forget to then put this timer back to 72 hours, okay? And that's why it's now become an item in the checklist, just to make sure that we always put a done against it, and we definitely do it in the database, okay? And I can't tell you how important it is to not forget this, because the minute you do forget to do it, they will say, oh, the publisher sent it in and everything went straight to AQL because the time elapsed in 15 minutes, and then it is a problem, right? So we want to make sure belts and braces, put it into the item. So this will be in the new master document. So for any existing campaign, shouldn't be a problem because it's already live. But in case it's not there, we can always add it into the document if we feel the need for it. Okay?
Yeah.
So that explained, that's it. So those were all the changes that I actually needed to cover with yourselves. So it's nothing major as such. But it does change the way we work, especially for copies of campaigns. The bit about the publisher template, which is super important, right? If we add to the pick list the assets, we maintain them in the template too. So it's no longer just adding it to the data source when we get copies, it's also to update the template. And I think that for support, I think that is the most important one. And then for any new campaigns, the tell list is the one that we're going to have to be very cautious with, because it does involve costs when we do things wrong. And I think that's it for me. If you don't have any questions, because it looks like no one has questions, which is quite interesting, that means that we can finish this KTW. I have recorded the session so that then in case you have any queries, you can go back to the video for it. And I expect that Zingiza and Isabel, if you have any queries when one comes in where you need to update the pick lists for the assets, that you just do a hands up and say, look, I'm doing this task now. Can you tell me when you're first available so that we can take you through it? And happy to do a formal KTW with you to make sure we get this 100% right every single time.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Excellent.
Okay, well, then have a great morning. That's us done. That was very good. I'll send you the follow-up notes, and then when this is listed, I'll put this into the KTW playlist so that people can access it. But that's it for us. Thank you very much.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Noelia.
Appreciate your
Thanks,
time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Naomi.
Bye.
Good
See you
job.
later. Bye now.
Bye. Bye.